This is what I'm interested in, I guess. I think people actually sent this to me when I was on the old Banner-Rooney. And then they reminded me afterwards. So this is called Unapologetic, my response to weaponized empathy. You know, because empathy is such a bad thing, guys. Woke culture, which is pretty much anything progressive. Free speech, which is based and selective outrage. Okay, let's see. Now, what I actually have to call this video is the victim complex of Just Pearly Things. Everybody takes L's sometimes, bro. And it's funny, people are telling me that this is her walking back her apology about Nick Fuentes once again. Let's go.
I decided to apologize.
Whoa.
I decided to apologize and see, would the people be happy?
I don't want to talk to this bitch, so I put it.
We are in second 8, and I've already figured out the problem that Pearl has. She apologized, and they didn't forgive her. That's it. She apologized, and people didn't forgive her, so now she's retracting her apology. Pearl, growing up in a, you know, being a rich little spoiled brat, thinks that when you say sorry for something, that you instantly deserve forgiveness. That's not what sorries are about. Sorries are you made a mistake. It's not about whether people forgive you or not. I've made some mistakes too, and I've apologized genuinely, and some people will never forgive me, and that's fine. It's not about that. It's about doing the right thing. I know, hot take, right? Sorry, guys. I just ate some cheese. I have a little bit of mucus in my throat. Sorry. And that's what this is all about. She didn't get instantly forgiven. Things aren't back to the way that they used to be. So now she's going to like cry and be like, well, you didn't forgive me. So now I'm going to be a poo-poo head. It's your career, Pearl. And frankly, I think it's funny because you are not a good content creator. You are kind of a bad person. And you're just mean and rude and nasty. And you're just like not... you're just not a pleasure to be around or be associated with, you know? You're what we call a stinky goose. Not even a silly goose anymore. You're a stinky goose. It's one step further than just a regular silly goose. So
They're in the primaries. He going to general.
And by the way, this sets the tone for Just Pearly Things. She spends this entire time acting like a dumb ditzy blonde.
Do I think she's a grifter? Absolutely. Yeah, I do. I don't think she believes half the stuff that she says that comes out of her mouth. Her friends, her family, a lot of good stuff that she says.
Why did you, not for nothing, why even watch the responses that people had to you? Like, you know, it gets to a point where you make a mistake, she decided to watch every single response. That's, to me, that's like a little delusional. I guess some people can't help themselves, but like you're gonna watch the full video. These guys don't even agree with me anymore, and then you're gonna record it and you're gonna put it into a video and you're gonna make it seem like this is crazy to me. Like you took the L. Why would you? Why do you, I don't? It doesn't make sense to me that you would expect this instant forgiveness. It's fucking wild.
Just see the switch up done over the last 2 years, and it's been fascinating to see the kind of
I had the worst white supremacist ever on my podcast, and all the black people didn't instantly forgive me? What world do we live in? And I pushed back 0 and even ran defense for him for a time? What? And people think that I'm grifting? Well, you know what? Even I apologize and you didn't accept it, so now I'm just going to go back to the way I actually feel, which is I don't care about you. Oh, yeah, that's why people are calling you a grifter, right? You understand this, no? Crazy stuff. Yeah, and she dressed up really nicely, too, because of Brittany Venti tore into her for, like, the way that she looked. And ever since then, she's been trying to, like, dress herself up and look nice. That really hit her in the feels. Oh, my Lord. Notice how pretty much every single person that she's criticizing is black. There are white people who criticized her too. And I wouldn't expect her to put me in there because I'm like a nobody. I understand that. But I'm just saying, like, I think that that's intentional. And I think we're at a point now, based on her actions, where, like, even though that is, maybe I'm reaching, you know, you take that with a grain of salt. I think that it's not an unreasonable assertion to make based on, like, the way that she's interacted. I think it was intentional. If I wanted to go even further, I could potentially make the argument that the reason that she's putting them all on there, overlaid, increase the volume of their videos to make it seem like they're loud and that because they're black or something. Like I honestly wouldn't doubt that she's trying to like subtly push this perpetuate this stereotype. I could be reaching, but like based on the way that she's been acting lately, it's possible. Possible. Next level.
And this is why, guys, never apologize to the mob, because they don't want your apology, they don't care about you, and they just want to see if they can control you.
Sure, Pearl.
What up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube channel, and welcome to
Force her videos like low. I'm turning myself down a little more.
I'm going to be talking about how the internet gets selectively outraged. So, if you guys are familiar with the Fresh and Fit and ABBA and Preach videos.
So this does happen. The internet can get selectively outraged, for sure, but it didn't happen in her case, so.
Myron, maybe like a year ago now, he had a video go viral.
Whoa,
I mean,
did he?
Stupid viral.
That's
of
crazy.
Him insulting Preach's wife. ABBA and Preach are another YouTube channel.
Yep,
Do reaction
that's why.
videos.
That's why he's not a man.
This Preacher's married, prior to a fucking beluga somewhere, and they're just talking shit.
At first glance, you might think that Myron is crazy. I mean, why is this man insulting Preach's wife?
No, I think that he's not a man. You don't insult another man's wife. He's a little baby.
And when they do the reaction videos, they really don't tell the full story. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, is a lot of times what you see...
The full story is that they got criticized because they're shit content creators, and Haven't Preach criticized them. And then they had a meltdown and insulted his wife, Preach's wife, because they're children that don't know how to take criticism. They're babies. So that's what it really is.
These reaction channels is they take a clip of a full conversation.
Okay.
And a lot of reaction channels are looking for clips to take you out of context and not give the full story.
Out of context? What is that?
And they are lying.
What is that?
To you. Now, let's talk about Fresh and Fit.
Who's
so,
context?
Evan Preach went on Fresh and Fit's podcast, and I think as a podcast host, when you have other YouTubers and you try to treat them cordially, you bring them into your studio, you introduce them to your staff, you usually, a lot of times you might be hanging out before, hanging out after, and you feel like you're at least friendly, like friends with these people. And what happened was, a couple weeks later, ABBA and Preach did a hit piece on Myron, and the way they did it was kind of sneaky. Like, they said that, you know, we were just attacking.
They've known, like, these guys haven't liked each other for a while. Like, it's not like this hot take. Like, it's been pretty well known, but okay.
Ideas, paying for box.
And then went on dates, then found out she's on the Sugar Baby site. Then when it comes out that she's on Seeking Arrangements, then he actually looks at live stream where he's like, no, we met on Seeking. Like, everything is smoke and mirrors, right? Which is fine. At the end of the day, if you want to sell an image and you got to lie to do it.
Yeah, it sounds like they're criticizing Fresh and Fit for creating a situation where they pull a bunch of young, ignorant girls onto the podcast and they berate them and make it seem like that's all women. That's it.
Do it.
Like which ones that they should use or whatever. So, like, these are the ones you guys got to be using, all right? You got to be using Tinder. You got to be using Bumble. You got to be using Hinge. You got to be using, if you live in a Latin-based city, like we live in Miami, so Chispa is good here. You know what I'm saying? Which is a Spanish joint. You know, which it's more like for Latinos. I don't like Plenty of Fish, but I've heard some people use it with some success. And then you got OkCupid as well. But the point is that
sure, these are good websites. I used to use OkCupid and Plenty of Fish. I met my wife on Tinder. I would say that if you're trying to find some, like, if you want to just fuck, like, I guess you could use that. You're probably better off finding somebody at work or through some kind of like hobby or an interest or something. Those are where like the longer term relationships will last. For the most part, people going on Tinder are doing it for casual sex. So, you know, and like if that's your goal, that's fine. But I'm just letting you know as advice to. I think you should always be looking, or like, let me not say looking. You should never be looking for love. I don't think necessarily, but you should always be open to it and like always be dating, right? Because if you look for something hard enough, you'll find it. But that doesn't mean that you'll find it the right way. You know what I mean? Like today, I wanted to make myself a peanut butter and zero sugar jelly. Couldn't find a knife, but I was looking for it. What did I find? The back of a spoon. You flip it upside down. Is it as effective? No, but I found it. That's how it means when you're looking for love. You know, you don't want to try too hard. You'll find it, and then you'll find the wrong kind of love. But you should always be open to it, date a little bit, see how it goes, and if things go well for a good period of time, you know, then there you go. You got your situation. But you know, you definitely want to. You understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying. So.
That you just need to have multiple fishing rods in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, this is definitely a numbers game.
I got a homeboy
go ahead.
Cleans up on Plenty of Fish.
Yeah.
He's probably listening to this right now. And they'll be some of the lowest of the low, but he does it, man. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, you could definitely clean up on these apps. And then you got Seeking Arrangement, which is like a sugar daddy site. But like that's a whole other, we'll probably have to do a video on that.
The slimy thing.
That's weird. So that sounds like you're basically like, and that's fine. If you want to do the sugar baby, sugar whatever thing, that's totally fine. But I mean, you're basically just, it's glorified prostitution, no? Basically. But okay.
Was they were like passive aggressively insulting the man, and men just don't respond well to that. Like you bring someone into your studio, you treat them well, then they leave and do a whole hit piece on you saying that you're capping, say you don't get girls like that. Like, I think anyone normal can see how that's disrespectful.
I mean, I didn't watch the full thing, and funny enough, she's criticizing people for all these reaction channels look for clips as she shows you a clip of the conversation. Now, obviously, it's unrealistic for her to show the whole thing, and frankly, I'm just not going to go watch it. I don't really care. I also don't like Fresh and Fit, and I happen to like Abbott and Preach, and it's because Fresh and Fit are pathetic excuses for men that look at women who say, hey, we were sexually assaulted, and say, well, then you should have chose better men. They're not real men. They're children. They're boys. I have no respect for them, and I'll probably never have a positive light of anything that ever happens to them because they are fundamentally bad, shitty people. So... I'm not going to do my due diligence there. But the point is that like there's no credibility for you because you're wildly unintelligent. You don't know what you're talking about. You're constantly getting stooped by every single person that you talk to. So your ability to interpret information isn't is nowhere it needs to be in order to make a claim. So like your interpretation of the situation, I just don't agree with it. What sounds like is that they went on the Fresh and Fit, and then afterwards they were like, hey, we went on Fresh and Fit, and they're losers. Yeah, that makes sense, because that's just basically the scientific method in play. So. All videos I appreciate on Fresh and Fit after being on the podcast. Okay.
This is the problem that we get into. It's that...
What problem is that?
Nobody cares about what's true. Because, 10 million people saw Myron freaking out, but nobody saw his explanation in a stream that gets 150,000 views. And that's the problem with the culture today is you can paint an entire...
Nobody saw his explanation in the stream that 150,000 people saw? Wow. Like, can we just re-listen to that beautiful line?
10 million people saw... Nobody cares about what's true because, 10 million people saw Myron freaking out.
I don't know what 10 million means. Where are you getting the 10 million number from?
But nobody saw his explanation in a stream that gets 150,000 views, and that's...
Yeah, nobody saw that video. What? Okay, so 150,000 people saw that stream. I understand maybe the point you're trying to make is that not as many people saw it, the explanation proportionally. Okay. Whose fault is that? I don't know. Like, maybe did they broadcast that specific segment, or did they just talk about it randomly in the podcast and not really talk? I don't know. Also, where the fuck is 10 million coming from? I've been Preacher successful. I don't think that they've ever gotten 10 million views on a video. I could be wrong. I guess I could be wrong. But okay, whatever.
That's the problem with the culture today is you can paint an entire narrative about somebody and it not be true. It wasn't like Myron insulted his wife out of thin air. Myron felt disrespected. It doesn't matter
if you feel disrespected. You are a child if you insulted another man's wife. Unprompted. If Preach's wife was talking about how Fresh and Fit are just ugly, blah, 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 and then they insulted her, well, she kind of asked for it at that point because she inserted herself. But you don't just randomly do that. That's childish. Why didn't they just insult them back? Oh, well, you're stupid. You don't really know what you're talking about. You're an idiot. There's no justification for insulting another man's wife. And that might be considered a little bit of an archaic perspective because that suggests ownership of husband and wife and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. That's just like a rule that you would follow if you're an actual man. So you're just right out the gate being stupid.
And,
Yeah, family is off limits, basically. Wife, children, off limits. It's completely off limits.
I don't agree with insulting someone's wife. I think that's quite rude.
I don't agree with it, but I'm going to sit here for the next 40 minutes and I'm going to talk about why it's okay. Okay, shut up. Like, dude, this is wild. There's no way that you're this ridiculous.
For the most part, I've learned to just ignore stuff. But at a certain point,
you watched every single video that people said criticizing you for your racism. So, have you?
And a lot of times, what these reaction channels do is they take clip.
Like you just
did. They paint
did.
a narrative, and they don't tell the full story.
Okay.
And a lot of times, these reaction channels haven't even done the research to make a full
Damn,
conclusion
Pearl.
on the story. My point is...
Pearl, you not for nothing, but you just watch anything that says Pearl Destiny on it, and you will see that everything that she says gets debunked. You can't make these claims. Everybody gets things wrong sometimes, but you are just a fountain of misinformation. You don't know what you're talking about at all. Because you hear things from other people in the manosphere, and then you just parrot them. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So...
The audience is that this is dishonest. They are lying to you, and they don't care about the truth. They care about clicks and
That's
views.
crazy.
So the last couple of days, oh my gosh, it has been so stressful. So I had a hit piece go out on me from, the quote-unquote, the black manosphere. And the Black Manosphere is a very pro-Black part of YouTube. And I can't acknowledge that. I would say, you know, some of the Black Manosphere is part of my audience. And what happened this week was they pulled a clips from an interview I had with Nick Fuentes. Now, a lot of these men have been making hit pieces on me for months. For months. They have been saying, oh, you shouldn't listen to this girl. This is your new leader. She's this. Yeah, they would just make...
Yeah, because he said a lot of racist shit and you didn't push back. And then there are even points where you like defended him and said that he wasn't really racist. Like, of course you're going to get pushed back on that. You're being racist. Like, oh my God. Like, could you imagine Black people getting upset with you for being racist to Black people? Like, who would have fucking guessed that one? Like,
all this stuff. So they have just been waiting for me to slip up.
Okay.
And say something that they can...
Sure, I'm sure that's true. That there are people who don't like you and they're waiting for you to slip up. And then they're going to go after you with potentially disproportionate energy. And that's what happened. You slipped up. I mean, you slipped up a lot more than just that. But you slipped up, and then they went after you. But you were still wrong. So if you want to say, hey, this criticism is disproportionate, maybe. I probably wouldn't agree with that. But that's one thing. Doesn't mean that you're right. I've been there before, where I've made the mistakes before, and I've had disproportionate criticism. I think that's a very internet thing to happen. But that doesn't mean that you're wrong. What you need to do is, like, the best advice you'll ever get if you like to do content creation is you need to find people in like the real world that can hold you properly accountable for your actions. That when you do something wrong, you could talk to them and they'll talk to you like a human being, and you can get better, more accurate criticism from them.
Construe as... because I'm a woman, you can't pull me as sexist. So,
what?
You know, personally,
what?
I follow things that interest me. I always just do what I'm interested in. And
Oh, okay. Can you let me know when like the next Barney remake is coming out? Because I can't imagine anything interests you outside of fucking childish dumb shit.
Heard about this guy named Nick Fuentes, who is a far-right extremist. He has been banned on everything, even his bank account.
Yeah,
I invited him on. He offered to fly himself here. Now, during this interview, we touched on the topic of slavery. And what these reactors did...
Yeah, and you said that it wasn't that bad. So, you know, kudos to you for that one, girl. That was crazy. That was wild. I couldn't believe that. I saw you say that it wasn't that bad, blah, 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 blah. That was nuts. I was actually flabbergasted.
They were trying to make me look this by pulling clips I said out of context. Now,
she's like censoring words like right and stuff and like racist.
I mentioned in this interview that all of these thoughts were from Thomas Sowell.
I read Sowell, so he talks about... Oh God, this is going to get me in trouble. How slavery was a global institution, and the word slave actually came from Slavic, which is white.
Wherever a separate people were enslaved.
Okay, that might be true, but that's not a racist thing to say.
They were disdained or despised, whether they were different by country, religion, caste, race, or tribe. The Europeans who were enslaved in North Africa were despised and abused because they were Christians in a Muslim region of the world, where they were called Christian dogs. Race became the most visible difference between slaves and slave owners in the Western Hemisphere. As distinguished historian Daniel J. Boorstin put it, now for the first time in Western history, the status of slave coincided with a difference of race. To make racism the driving force behind slavery is to make a historically recent factor the cause of an institution which originated thousands of years earlier.
That's interesting. So what they're basically saying is that it wasn't necessarily a race thing that created slavery. That might be true. Nowadays in America, well, not nowadays, black people aren't slaves anymore, but it has become very much a race thing. Now, this potentially just sounds like them purporting a fact about slavery and having an intelligent... I mean, Thomas Sowell, whether you like him or not, is an intelligent guy. I've listened to him before. I like some of... He's an intelligent person. Like, this person isn't even trying to look for me. I'm just going to knock him out of the dungeon. So that, though, is different than, like, what she said, because she was downplaying it. She's saying it wasn't really that big of a deal, et cetera, et cetera. So...
This enshrinement of racism as an overarching causal factor accords far more with current instrumental agendas than with history.
A guy that's written like 80 books on this topic. Now,
okay, but that's not what you said. That's so...
agree with Thomas Sowell. You can disagree with Thomas Sowell. And you can even say, maybe I didn't use the correct words, but that doesn't make me a racist person. But the problem is all of these reactors are just sitting there waiting for you to slip up. And to pay...
That's not what you said. Nick Fuentes was literally there saying we shouldn't race mix. And you were like, oh, I could see that. Like, you were running defense for this shit. What are you talking about? Thomas Sowell would call you a racist. What do you mean?
Narrative about you. And that's what I've seen people do to Fresh and Fit for the past 3 years.
Narrative, because they're children.
Is that
they're losers.
These reaction channels
and they don't like
are just
you.
Sitting there looking for you to say the wrong thing. They're looking for you to slip up, and they're not going to things in good faith. And the other issue you get with content creators, especially reaction channels, is they turn on you at a dime. And that's what Abba preached to Fresh and Fit. They're hanging out in the studio, and the next week they're saying, oh, you're capping, you're capping, you're capping.
I almost can guarantee you that they were criticizing Fresh and Fit even before they went on to their their podcast with them. So like they were always criticizing him.
And you know, Ab and Preach proceeded to make like 20 videos on them, and Fresh and Fit didn't say anything. Now, guys, you know, anyone, I don't even think I've worked with Fresh and Fit in like 2 years.
Them not saying anything is like, why is that like particularly relevant? They would say dumb shit. They would get criticized. I'm not understanding. Like, what's the, like, them not responding is what? Why? Why don't you advocate for them to respond? I don't understand. Don't you guys always say that bullying is a good thing? It makes people stronger. If you, by your logic, if you think this is bullying, isn't it a good thing? I don't understand.
I'm not even saying this to defend them, but I just see what the reaction channels are doing. It's like a system.
So crazy,
and
a system.
They want to paint content creators a certain way.
Systemic
they want
racism.
Stupid. They want Fresh and Fit to look sexist and racist. They want.
Well, because
they
are.
Now they've come to me. They want me to look.
Well, I don't know if they're racist.
There was a guy named Rollo Tomasi, and Rollo Tomasi was a guy in the red pill space.
He's so dumb.
And at one point, I really wanted him to mentor me, but he said it's not personal, but I can't associate with your brand, and I didn't really understand what he meant at the time. But what these reaction channels will do is,
damn, you got rejected by Rollo Tomasi. That's wild. He was just saying that he can't associate with a woman, so that's what the problem is.
you have a controversial person on your platform, they will start to insinuate that you believe what they believe, and they'll look for a video of you saying yes.
What are you talking about? That's not why it was. They associate with Fresh and Fit, and they're more controversial than you.
You joking with that person, you just being polite to that person, and paint a narrative about you being racist, about you being sexist, about you being homophobic, whatever narrative they want to push. With Rollo, I didn't understand what he meant at the time, but now I do. The issue is if you associate with certain people, and me coming into the space, I'm like, I'll talk to anyone. What's the big deal? I mean, I bring in randoms to my studio every night. Like, who cares? But the issue you get into is the reaction channels, they're like vultures. Well, they'll come in and try to make you look a certain way and try to make you paint a certain way, be painted a certain way for clicks and views, even if they know damn well you're not that way. Back to Nick Fuentes. I did a podcast with this man named Nick Fuentes, and Nick Fuentes. Again, extremist. He doesn't believe in race mixing, doesn't believe in that, like, thinks the was over-exaggerated.
Yeah, he's racist and anti-Semitic.
And we're talking about the idea of people using an atrocity to control you. And if you listen to it, like 20 minutes around where we started talking about slavery.
So they started, because I watched it, they started talking about, Nick talked about how, like, the Holocaust was over-exaggerated and how they use it as a way to create a victim complex for Jewish people. That's obviously wrong and anti-Semitic. Pearl jumped in and said, yeah, I think that's what they did with slavery, to shame white people. And it's like, her point was, I don't think that slavery was that bad. It's like, why even say that? What do you think it was? Good? I don't understand. What's the production there? That's why people are criticizing you. So
you will see the context, but the reaction channels don't want to see the context, or they're too lazy.
I watched the whole thing, so
afraid of their audience, because if they watch the full video, but most of their audience has seen the 1 minute clip, they can't go against their audience. That's the problem. Okay. Now we get to a point where it doesn't even matter what's true or what's false. It literally doesn't matter. I apologize.
So then why did you apologize? I don't understand. Like, now you apologize, now you're walking it back. Like, it's not like you're apologizing and saying, hey, guys, I'm still sorry, but, like, you guys should cut me some slack. You're apologizing, and then you're saying that you walked it back on, like, the trigonometry podcast or whatever. Obviously, you're fucking grifting. That's why people called you out for it, because you're obviously lying.
The reaction channels can make a 1 million view video about me, or make a 10 million view TikTok about me, even if they know that that's not true.
Okay.
And how often do the reaction channels come back and say, you know what, we effed up. You know what, we painted a false narrative. You know what, and they never do, because what incentive do they have to do that? Because then their audience wouldn't trust them. One thing they said that I said was that I was comparing Black Americans to African Americans. Now, one, I didn't even know about this animosity towards the two, but I was simply just commenting how much I love my employees, how hard they work, how great they are.
I don't remember the specifics of this one, but that might have been when she possibly insinuated that, like, I don't remember, that, like, fucking Black Americans are less hardworking or something. It was a weird thing that she said. I don't really remember the specifics of it, so I'm not really going to talk about it.
These reaction channels were trying to say that I was trying to put down someone else. Non-Western people come in with a hunger that a lot of times, Westerners were spoiled. And I never mentioned race, but these people are trying to make it about race and saying, oh, that's what she really meant. That's what she really said. But it wasn't what I said. And they're putting words into my mouth. And these people, they're bullies. I was joking around. With Nick.
I thought that you said bullying was okay. Like, what happened? You literally call fat women whales that don't deserve love. And you're like, it's okay to bully because this helps people lose weight or something. And now you're saying you're getting bullied. Isn't that a good thing? Shouldn't you be? Isn't that your logic, is that this is an appropriate measurement getting bullied apparently is good by your logic. So
Fuentes, and they said, "Oh, you can't joke around with him." Sorry, that's my personality.
No, you can't. He's fucking racist. Like, what do you mean? Like, I enjoy a good edgy joke, but like, you wouldn't see me joking around with Nick Fuentes because he means it. Like, people use jokes all the time as a way to like perpetuate an idea that you believe in or they believe in. All the time. You can't make jokes with Nick Fuentes. He's a racist. Like, he means them. He's not joking. He's being serious, and he's saying it in a way that he feels is funny. Okay.
Joke around with anyone. You didn't offer him enough pushback. Well, sorry, I listen to understand what they're saying. It doesn't mean I agree. And that's the thing what these reaction channels will do. They'll look for a clip of you, or one clip will go viral of you, and they're so scared of their audience that they won't tell you the truth.
Okay.
They won't tell you the context. They don't want to even know the context because
what is the context? But what word is this?
Here, I'm going to tell you guys the truth no matter what. Do you think this is going to help me? This video telling you guys the behind the scenes of this? Hell no. But to me, if these
I think that you think though that this is going to go well for you and you're going to get a lot of views off of this. Oh, this guy's fucking trying to. Oh shit, where is he going to go next? But I think you think that this is going to look good because you're fighting the anti-wokeness.
People are lying on me. I'm sorry, I got to tell the truth. So, Blessing, my producer, who I speak so highly of, I speak so highly of.
He's not
he
going
was
for
late.
this one. I know where he's going.
You know, I said African time. And you know what? They're going to clip this. They're going to say I did this, did that, and I'm a white apologist, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? What they don't know is I was referring to something Blessing said earlier. That's something he says when he walks in the door.
Ready?
And all of these reaction channels are going to come in and say, oh, Pearl shouldn't do that in front of a white supremacist. That's so disrespectful. Well, if my employees were disrespected, that's their job to talk to me.
To be honest, I can go on to even say that Nick was in terms of the guest
Fuck
that
no, he's not
quite a nice guy. He didn't carry any ego. He just has views that
he wasn't threatening.
We might not agree.
I think we put him on the spot.
None of them had a problem. I even had one of my producers take a picture with him. And this is the problem is the reaction channels, none of them actually reached out to my employees to see how they're doing, to see if they're okay.
Who cares?
Where if they were really outraged about it, if they really cared, they would do that.
Why?
They also cut out a part where Nick made a joke and said he was kidding.
I told you I'm on my way because I thought I was already 10 minutes late when I was leaving.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Blessing was more late African.
Well, he's black.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a hard time. I don't mean
And they didn't put in the full clip.
Yeah, he probably didn't mean it, guys. It's not like he thinks that black people are biologically inferior. He's never said something like that before, ever. He's never said that we shouldn't race mix. He's never said anything racist that would make that clearly not actually a joke. I'm just kidding. By the way, you shouldn't be here. He doesn't think that person should be able to work with you. Like, you realize this, right? Like, what's happening? This is wild.
He said, "Oh, I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm kidding." Why would they cut that out? Why would they do that?
Oh, you're right. They could be trying to frame him incorrectly. Oh, or maybe it's really not relevant because he actually is racist. Like, that's the interesting thing about racist jokes. When a non-racist person makes them, it's a funny LOL time. When a racist person makes them, they're racist. I don't know if you guys ever heard this before. Crazy.
The other thing they put in was that my friend and Nick Fuentes were going back and forth about interracial dating, and that I should have spoken more. I should have spoken up. If Gabby needed help, if Gabby
you were visibly uncomfortable sitting on the couch through like a silent period. I remember watching that part. So yes, you should have pushed back more. He was saying that he was saying that people shouldn't race mix, and she has like a black boyfriend. What are you talking about? It's racist. I got what?
Holding her own. She was holding her own. If she needed help, then I certainly would have helped. But I know the girl, and she was holding her own just fine. So now let's get into MTR's reaction. So MTR, media. I want to give you guys a little background into my relationship with MTR. If you don't know,
I don't care.
500,000 subscribers, mediocre tutorials and reviews. And I met him when I was in Miami, and I actually spent a good amount of time with him. He flew in for a one-on-one interview, and he actually spent a day with me and my sister. Like, honestly, I felt like I actually opened up to him in a way because I let him meet my family.
I bet you would have, but he probably wasn't interested because you dress like that and you don't look for it. Well, you look beautiful. You look really nice, and he probably was so intimidated by your looks that he didn't want to. He just couldn't do it.
I mean, not any YouTube.
Thank you, Alyssa, for the 5 months. Papa, just for lulz, watched a clip of Nick fighting. Send it to me, I guess. Maybe I'll watch it at the end of this.
YouTuber knows we always want to protect our family from the public, and I introduced him to my sister.
You knowingly invited a white supremacist and a self-proclaimed racist.
I have no problem
inviting people
that disagree. I have no problem
Well, you have to play his entire video, Pearl. You have to play his entire video. You can't watch just clips of what one of them are saying. You have to play the whole thing by your because that's what you're doing right now. Is you're telling people that they shouldn't be doing this particular behavior. You have to do the whole thing. We have to watch the entire video, the entire thing right now.
Crazy conversations. I will not apologize for having a controversial guest because I will keep having controversial guests.
Well,
My
educate
staff
yourself
is
for
very
having
aware
them.
of this. They know this, and if they have an issue with this, they should talk to me, not the internet. And that's the other thing
Unless you
about
can fire 'em.
YouTubers is why the hell are YouTubers that have my number going to the internet before they talk to me? A lot of these YouTubers are so scared to protect their
because since you you didn't just platform a racist. You basically ran defense for the racist. You didn't push back enough. They figure, oh, she doesn't respect me fundamentally as a person. I don't want to talk to her. I don't like her. I don't know. These are good explanations, I think. Hey, what's up, Akro? How you doing? Got a 5 seconds unskippable ad, then 15-second unskippable back-to-back. Awesome. Fantastic. I'm happy that you watched it then, so I could get money from coming in. Wow, YouTube's a new Twitch. Bro, a 5-second and 15-second ad about Core coming into the stream isn't that bad. Twitch will make you watch like a minute or a minute and a half or some shit worth of ads, so it's way worse. But what's up, Akro? How you doing, brother? Oh, shit.
brand that they will throw anyone and everyone under the bus, and it's honestly blood sport, and it's honestly disgusting.
Pearl, you know that your staff is mostly black people, and I'm talking about from a production perspective as well as a talent perspective.
MTR, if you were worried about my employees, why didn't you message Blessing? Why didn't you message King? Why didn't you message Helen? You certainly could have reached out to them. You certainly could have asked me for their numbers, but you chose to go to the internet because you were offended for my employees.
I don't think that your platform would be as big as what it is today if it wasn't for the essential utilization of black people, black relationship topics, and black talent.
I don't know how many times I have said this. And I don't know how many times I've
She's no idea how to do
my
audio.
platform is not a black platform. How could I have a platform about black issues if I talk about relationships? My last shows.
Bro, he's not saying that you have dude, he's not saying that you have a platform that's exclusively about this. He's saying that you've grown your channel off the backs of a lot of black content creators and like black ideas and like shit like that. That's all he's saying. You could agree or disagree with it, but you don't even know how to phrase what he's saying correctly. Like you played him saying something and then you instantly misinterpret it, which either because you don't know how to because you're not smart or because you're being intentionally dishonest.
The two that come to my head. Why can't we call a hoe a hoe? Trust me, there are hoes in every color. Oh my God, trust me. And how to be a good wife. What's a good wife?
You're a virgin?
They go off the titles and they don't even watch
you don't
it.
know
And then they make a reaction.
You're not in you've like never been in like an actual functioning relationship, and you're a virgin. How would you know about any of these things? I don't really understand.
Saying that I said something I didn't, or my show's about something it's not. You know, I'm not going to say we've never touched on a black topic in a year of shows, but shit, in terms of how often, it's really not. And that's why wouldn't he go through the shows? Why wouldn't he do his due diligence when he spent time with me, he's met me, and we had a great relationship up until he made this hit piece. And the other accusation he had, you could have had black people in the same room.
You mean up until he ran defense for a white supremacist?
We did. We did.
Somebody's invading my dungeon, guys.
With black people in the black, I mean, it was a mix of races, but we certainly had black people there too. So again, it's all of these reaction channels saying this is how you should run the show, but none of them have done it. None of them are that successful, and they want to tell us how to run our shows. And the other thing, you know what, and MTR, here's the thing. I am really not about bringing out private things behind the scenes to public. I think it's trashy, but if you're going to publicly accuse me of things and you're going to publicly make a hit piece on me, then I have to publicly defend myself.
Now, what's crazy is that I came across these comments while I was live streaming a couple of days ago. And what
you found out on live is about the clips is just not true. You know it's not true. I don't know why you're lying to your audience.
General, and not once in the interview did you have at least one pro-black stance.
MTR.
Yeah,
you said yourself before you released the video, when I asked you, did you watch the full interview? You said no. So how do you even know? Because that's the thing. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what's right.
What is this?
So how do you even know? Because that's the thing. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what's right. He doesn't care what's true. He cares about appeasing his audience. And that's what all these reaction channels are doing to you.
And along with my
what was this from again? Hold on.
Before you released the video, when I asked you, did you watch the full interview? You said no. So how do you even know? Because that's the thing. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what's right. He doesn't care what's true. He cares about appeasing his audience. And that's what all these reaction channels are doing to you.
And along with my accountability, this is now my definitive stance.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be annoying about this.
General, and not once in the interview did you have at least one pro-black stance.
MTR, You said yourself before you released the video, when I asked you, did you watch the full interview?
Oh, okay. So then maybe he just watched it after. So maybe he didn't watch it before he released the video. This is if you talking to him before he released his video, which means that he had plenty of time to watch it before he released his video. I don't understand. You aren't making a point here. You're just like not understanding the way timelines work.
You said no. So how do you even know? Because that's the thing. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what's right. He doesn't care what's true. He cares about appeasing his audience. And that's what all these reaction channels are doing to you.
And along with my accountability, this is now my definitive stance. I can no longer support or associate myself with the Just Pearly Things.
MTR, if you don't want to work with me, I fully support that. You don't
Why
want
would
to
you support
associate with
that?
me, I fully support that.
Why?
Why are you still making money off of the clips from the show on my channel? I'm so offensive. You better take those off. Because now I certainly don't give you permission to use those, because why would I?
Why would you need permission? You went onto his show. I'm not understanding. Like, this isn't really a point. Like, he talked to you previously. Why would he remove the content? He's just not going to associate himself with you now. I don't give you permission now. That's the Pearl. That's not how consent works. You know that, right? You can't consent to a thing and then after the thing is over, remove your consent. So you're not allowed to tell him to take those videos down. That's not how consent works. Okay? You can't retroactively remove consent on a thing. Okay? I know that you agree with me because I know that you criticize girls for doing that. So
you don't want to associate with the brand, so take them off. Stop making money off of them.
I
remove my consent. They're absolute hypocrites.
I also have a no beef policy on my platform.
You have a no beef policy on my platform, but you make a hit piece on me. And this is what he's going to do, because this
criticism
is
isn't a hit
piece. They never apologize, and they just double down. Then you know what he's going to do? He's going to find another clip, take it out of context, and then say, oh, no, well, now that I watched the full interview. And this is the principle. It's not even that he may have been offended. It's that we are grown adults, and you could call me.
Okay.
And yet you choose to go to the internet first. Now, I don't know, where was honor, where was respect, and where was dignity? If someone has been kind enough to allow me into their studio, to, I even introduced you to my family, to spend days shooting content with you, and then you turn around and say you can't associate with the network? What is courageous? To make a hit piece on me? To appease your audience? What's more courageous, to do that? Or to go with the narrative, what everyone's saying?
Courageous.
And you know what? You might not say it today, you might not say it tomorrow, but you were absolutely wrong for this. You were absolutely wrong. You quote unquote left the manosphere, but you're still in it. And and let's talk about defamation of character. So this is the thumbnail that MTR put of me.
Holding Just Things accountable. It wasn't that bad. What's wrong with that? You said that slavery wasn't that bad, and those are pictures of that's you. There's nothing. What would be defaming about this?
He said in quotes that and insinuating that I said that slavery was not that bad.
You did say
I
that.
did not say that. In fact, in the clip, I said that it was horrible.
The founder of, or the guy who made Roots said I wanted a myth.
You said it was horrible, but it wasn't as bad as they made it seem. You said that. What are you talking about?
For my people to live by. So they often, but that's what they do, is they embellish. And I'm not trying to say it wasn't horrible. It was.
Right.
But they want to make it like more horrible. So that
you're saying it's not that bad
in a way.
How is it not defamation of character to say that I said something I didn't say in the thumbnail?
Because it's a reasonable interpretation of what you said. That's why. That is a very reasonable interpretation of what you actually said. You said it wasn't that bad. It was bad, but it wasn't that bad. That's what you said. You said it was still horrible, but it wasn't that bad, right? It wasn't as bad as people like to say. That's what you're saying. After basically agreeing with Nick Fuentes' I didn't go before. Anti-Semitic point about how the Holocaust wasn't that bad. Like, wild shit. Wild stuff, bro.
And it's one thing when you do that to someone random or whatever, but, and these random clips that circulate on YouTube, but I work on YouTube. That's my livelihood.
Oh, no.
And it's funny because they act like they care about black issues, but yet they're trying to damage the reputation of a network that hires majority black employees. And without even
she's doing identity politics. Now she's saying because she has enough black people working for her, she shouldn't be receiving criticism. She's wild, dude. She's so dumb. She has no filter. She doesn't even think about anything that she says. Jesus Christ.
Been asking the employees, are they offended? How did they take it? And so that's what I'm saying. These content creators get outraged for my employees who were not mad. I didn't even hear about it till after he left. And everyone's going to say, oh, they're secretly offended. They just couldn't tell you. And that's how I know nobody stepped a foot in.
Who gives a shit if they're offended? It doesn't matter if they are or they aren't offended. They're not every black person in the world. So
in my studio, because they absolutely will tell me if they agree, if they don't agree, but they all know signing up to work here, we have controversial guests. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the thumbnail. That's not legal either. It's defamation of character to put in quotes and insinuate I said something I didn't say. I said in that exact clip that you saw, you watched, you reacted to, it wasn't that horrible. And when I asked you, why would you put that I said something I didn't say?
It wasn't that horrible, she said.
And that's not what I meant. And you know it's not what I meant. And that's the worst part.
Says.
That clip that you saw, you watched, you reacted to, it wasn't that horrible. And when I asked you, why would you put that I said something I didn't say? Well, it's how the comments interpreted it. And that's not what I meant. And you know it's not what I meant.
That's how it was.
And that's the worst part is he knows I'm not a racist. He knows all of this stuff.
Nah, you
and I beg you, MTR, name one instance we had where I treated any of my employees unfairly, where I was rude to any of my employees, where I was rude to you, where I was rude to any of our mutual friends. And you know what? In hindsight, I probably would have put out a statement saying he had nothing to do with the Nick Fuentes interview. And I would have been happy to do that if he asked me. But he didn't ask me. And you know, when
I accidentally rolled into a fucking damaging AoE. Holy shit.
Being called by everyone in the book, and then your friend tries to pile on. And again, all of the ideas that I spoke about were from Thomas Sowell, a author of 80 books on the topic. So you could say maybe as a white woman, I shouldn't have said anything about it. But
no, you're just not a smart person. Thomas Sowell's smart. There you go. If you're dumb, don't try to talk about nuanced topics.
I certainly was quoting someone else. And that's the crazy thing. Oh my gosh. So what did I do? I decided, why don't I put out an apology video? Just as a test. I wanted to see, would the mob be happy? No, they never accept your apology. And did MTR backtrack and say, you know what? Given that I have spent this much time with her, I was more than willing to work with her before. I had no issues before. But now when the crowd goes one way, I'm going to go with it. Now let's show another clip that could be taken out of context and make it look like this man is racist. Against white people.
What are we doing to white people? And I was going to say erasing them, which I agree we are. You know, with every interracial relationship, white people, we're immigrating, they're not having babies, we're erasing them. I thought that's where it's going to go.
We're not erasing them.
I thought the Chinese guy was going to be like, hey, man, you know what we doing? We bringing our people, we taking over, right? And I was going to celebrate it.
You was about to celebrate it.
Yeah, the future.
But it is white people's fault.
What is?
Everything.
What are we doing to white people?
I think it's funny that she criticized. I didn't watch this video, but it's funny that she criticizes everybody else for taking their out of context, and they're taking them out of context. I can almost guarantee it. They're making like a joke about white people when they sleep with a black person, have a kid. That kid is technically considered like black now, and that has a lot to do with like the one drop rule, past racist theory bullshit. Like, but they're joking. I make jokes about how we should eradicate the white race through like every white person getting like a fucking. Like a big BBW black wife or something. Like who cares? This whole thing is just they're being stupid. They're just being silly gooses. It's a joke.
I don't know, taking the skin and wearing it.
Like these two literally like criticized Hassan for using the word cracker with a hard R and saying that is racist. I'm pretty sure they did from what I remember. So like you really can't claim that they are anti-white racists. Like ABBA literally right now is just being called he's being called not black enough by FD Signifier because he doesn't basically I don't know preach whatever talking point he's supposed to as a black person online. You really just can't make the argument. It's just silly.
You know what? You
Big
don't do
booty.
That. Because I know the context. I know he was kidding. But that's what a lot of these reaction channels do. They wait for you to slip up. O'Shea claims to support the black community.
But it's because we all know that he's kidding. What's happening here? What point does she try to prove there? That she could also effectively try to take people out of context? What the fuck is happening here? Why would she bring that up? What the fuck? Okay.
Yet he constantly goes after organizations that support black content creators. How can you say you're pro-black when, honestly, between me and Fresh and Fit, we employ more black people than you do. So after
what
the
is happening?
Video,
what's happening?
They wait for you to slip up. I know the context. I know he was kidding.
What?
But that's what a lot of these reaction channels do. They wait for you to slip up. O'Shea claims to support the black community, yet he constantly
Who's O'Shea?
Goes after organizations that support black content creators.
I'm not understanding.
How can you say you're pro-black when, honestly,
the No Jumper podcast, aren't they like under controversy? I'm not like interested in it, but okay, whatever.
Me and Fresh and Fit, we employ more black people than you do. So
hey guys, I own more black people. That means I'm better than you. Like, what are you saying? You realize that's how it comes off as. When you say like, "Hey, I employ more black people than you, so I'm better than you," you're counting black people. You're using black people as points, as a monetary system. You're saying because you have more black people than someone else that you like black people more. That's really weird. That by itself could come off as racist. Holy fuck. Wild.
The apology video. I said, okay, let's see how brave these men are. So I asked Obsidian to host a debate, and I said, everyone that has had so much to say about me, come on the stream. Nobody showed up.
Yeah, why would they?
I'm a firm believer that if you truly believe something about someone, you should be able to say it to their face.
Sure, they just don't think that you're worth the time of day. Like, that's it. Like, understand that that's because of your lack of value. Like, I get, I'm popular, I get views. Okay, nobody. Like, if you really want to do that, go on to someone else, go on to Destiny's fucking whatever, just when Abba's there, and be like, I want to talk to Abba, blah, 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 and then start, like, going off and crying or something.
And all you couldn't even show up to a stream. And you know what? If I was this diehard racist that they think, why didn't they show up? You should want to tell off a race. Tell me how horrible I am. How could you spend hours and hours and hours listening to me talk, but you can't stand by what you said?
You just said that they don't spend hours and hours listening to you talk. You said that they cut everything out. You say out of context, and they don't even watch the full thing. So what are we talking about here? What's happening right now? I'm confused. I'm so confused. Yeah.
This is the thing about these reaction channels. What's courageous? Courageous is going against the mob. And honestly, a lot of these reactors are no better than the feminists that paint a narrative about men. A lot of feminists, they might take a clip or take a snippet of a story and say, he did this, he did that, he's this. And these goddamn content creators do the same thing. And you could say what I said was inaccurate, maybe insensitive, but to say you question my morals? Are you kidding
you don't have
me?
Any.
And that's the thing. We live in this society where we no longer can give people the benefit of the doubt. And that's the worst part, is that MTR didn't even watch the full video, even though he met my sister. He spent a bunch of time with me. He came over to see me in London. We shot so much content for him. He still couldn't even give me the benefit of the doubt.
So you're saying, what you're trying to say, okay, so what you're basically saying is that somebody who was like somewhat like a friend of yours, now that you're in controversy, is no longer your friend, and you're trying to make it seem like that's because he should give you the benefit of the doubt, when maybe it's because you are actually just that bad that even your own friends don't want to associate with you themselves with you anymore. I get right. Okay.
Doubt, and felt like he needed to cater to his audience.
I mean, I just don't think that that's what it is. I just think that people are tired of you. I don't think that everybody's afraid of some kind of mob going after them. So, okay.
You know who I respect? I respect the content creators that doubled down because they knew me. Anton Daniels, he got a lot of pushback for defending me. Obsidian, he got a lot of pushback for defending me.
Wow.
She's cool with me. I wouldn't call her a friend, but it is definitely a person that I've had multiple different conversations to. She's added value into my life behind the scenes, gave me some game. I gave her, hopefully reciprocated and gave her some game. We didn't kick it in person. She'd have met my wife.
But they know me in real life. So they know I've been nothing but polite.
That's nice.
They know that I do my best to be friendly and kind to people.
Where the
and
fuck
they refuse to profit off of me. And I'm not trying to paint myself as a victim. I do very well on YouTube. You guys aren't going to stop me. You're not really going to bring me down. MTR says he's against cancel culture, and he accuses brands of bending to the will of the woke mob. But what did you just do?
I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
Bro, this fucking.
And I'm gonna remain professional. But it just bothers me that companies still will buckle to the whim of this bullshit. Now you guys see the uphill battle in real time that I have to climb, that the content creators in the space have to climb. We've said a whole bunch of firsts in here. One of the first is actually having brands and sponsorship that
looks like this guy lost some brand deal because he was saying sexist stuff potentially. Okay, I guess.
Come down in here and show us respect. And at the drop of a Thanos click, a Thanos snap, they take it away. Why? Because the victims come out the woodwork and say, he's misogynistic. The weaponized term that has nothing to do with my channel.
I have no idea what he makes, so I can't even speak on it.
Has nothing to do with my channel, and you know it. I'm disappointed. But it shows the uphill battle that we have to climb.
What up, dude?
Because
I'm gonna fuck you up,
bitch.
bitch.
That you did that in good faith. What happened to good faith? You did that to protect your brand and to build your audience. And you know what? If that's how you want to play it, go do it. But, you know, a lot of people can see through this shit.
Okay.
And the truth always comes out. So you spoke about that, but this is the same way you're bending to the will of your audience. If you go on stream and say that you think I'm racist, go on stream and say that you think that you question my morals.
Select correctly, or if you let someone into your proverbial inner circle before that they have been properly vetted. These are the people that can bring you down into the abyss as well.
Oh, you're right. I could see how that would happen. And you know what? The worst part is this goddamn thumbnail, because he knows I messaged him. Did I say that? He knows I didn't say that. And that's the thing.
That's actually very funny. Someone in the chat said, LOL, if you're supposed to tell a racist how horrible they are, then why didn't you say that to Nick? That was fucking funny. That's a good point. She's going on about how when they didn't join the Zoom call, that, oh, well, if they're so, if I'm so racist, isn't it basically your responsibility to come and say something to me? And then, but then when it comes to Nick being racist, like, oh no, I'm trying to be cordial to a guest. Isn't it your responsibility to say something that they're racist?
He's willing to do this to me. I would say he was an acquaintance, maybe a friend. All right. If he was willing to do that to me, what's he willing to do to you?
Just keep this in mind as you are creating friendships throughout your life, is that when everything is going good, it's high time for your acquaintances.
Okay.
But when things are not so good,
okay,
the acquaintances will slowly shift to the back.
Wow.
So well.
So sad.
How is it not snake behavior to insinuate that I am racist and have bad morals after I allowed you onto my platform?
Oh,
after
shit.
I paid for so much footage to be edited, cut. Also, I'd like to add, you disrespectfully made a video about me. You disrespectfully put something in the thumbnail and defamed my character and said I said something that I did not say.
I'm gonna sue.
And you pretended to be concerned about my employees, but you didn't even reach out to them. And you know what? I'm going to disrespectfully post all of the footage that we took, because you know what? Honestly, that footage was fire and I'm making money off of it. And no, you do not have permission to use any clips on your channel. You know what? And I will. You know what? MTR, I'll give you a video. I already know how the reaction channels do it.
I'm not understanding what's happening right now. It sounds like they made footage together and then she never released it all because I guess he asked her not to or something. And now she's going to. I don't understand. This is just like weird, silly pettiness. But you can't make any clips off of our stuff. Well, he could if he wanted to, because it's still him really there. And like, I don't know if you guys had an agreement for you not to post it. I mean, you're the one that really shouldn't be posting it, I guess. But why would you want to post it now if you're not friends? Doesn't that just give him exposure? Like, doesn't even really help you, does it? I'm just confused. This is none of this makes any sense.
So I'm sure he's just going to double down, find another clip that Pearl looks like is an ill will. Pearl looks bad. And you know what? I'm sure he's going to find something else to paint me in a certain light. And you know what? That was a pretty controversial conversation, so I'm sure he's going to find it. And you know what?
Okay.
You know what? I'll give you a chance. You can come. If you admit you messed up, maybe we can repair this. No.
Wow, you're so desperate.
Not right now. Not right now.
No, not right now. So what I find crazy is that Pearl's logic here is that she is being attacked by her friends, people who used to be her friends. And they don't just disagree with her. They're lying. That's what she's saying. They're feeding into their audience. They're lying. It's all a publicity stunt. However, I will still work with you if you say you're sorry to me. That's what she's saying. You don't think that makes sense to you? Like, that's people that you think are intentionally misrepresenting, from your perspective, your character, you're going to talk. Why would you talk to them again? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, this is weird. This is wild. Why are you so desperate for their validation? So either one, you actually don't think that they're misinterpreting you and that they're actually true, honest, but you just want to work with them again. Or two, you have such low self-esteem that you think that these people are intentionally being dishonest to you and like intentionally framing you poorly, and you still want to work for them. That's wild. You look bad regardless.
And that's what honestly all these reaction channels do. They just pull clips and like they're looking for it. And guys, you're going to start to see it after some point. Also, MTR, I'm asking that you take down all videos of us together on your channel because you don't want to be associated with my platform. So I'm giving you the opportunity to pull all clips because I don't want to have to copyright strike you, but I'm appeasing to your wishes. And if you want to disrespectfully diss me on a video, then I will disrespectfully tell you that we will copyright strike you if you do not remove the videos.
Well, that I think might be illegal, but okay. Or against policy. That might be an abuse of copyright law.
And also, guys, we're re-uploading the videos of Nick Fuentes. And if you want to see the full videos and see all of the context, go onto our Rumble. The link is in the description. Another instance that Abba and Preach did this is with Fresh and Fit. So Abba and Preach tried to say that Fresh and Fit laughed at a proud grapist. Charleston right. But the reality is he was talking about his past and why people shouldn't take his path. That's what he was talking about on the...
Yeah, I know what she's referring to. I watched that video too. I watched a little bit of the actual thing. It sounded like what the framing was. Well, Adam Priest said that this guy was like a really bad guy, et cetera, et cetera. The individual in question apparently is somebody with like a rough past who used to do pretty horrible things. Like one of the things he talked about is it's like drugging women and raping them, white women. And Fresh and Fit did laugh at that, so that is pretty disgusting. And yeah, I guess they could have been more contextually accurate, but he was talking about how he was doing it when he was like, oh, we were raping white women at 13. Doubtful. He was probably doing it as an adult and he was downplaying it. Either way, I don't know why you wouldn't understand people like being upset that somebody was talking about how they used to rape women. They used to drug white women and rape them. That's what he was saying. Like, that's what that guy was saying there. And you might want to say like, oh, well, you know what? He's reformed and he's trying to educate people away from it because he was talking about like the dangers of rap music and about how it glorifies stuff. That's fine. But like the people who don't want to look at this person like and go like, yeah, I can't forget, like people who can't forgive him for that, that's makes perfect sense. So why even bring this up
on the platform? And that's what they do. Okay, you can have someone
defending some real
on the
interesting
show that's
people
controversial,
there,
that's made mistakes in the past.
Bro, he used to drug and rape
if you
women.
Get
that's
along
not
with
the
them,
mistake.
If you're kind to them, if you're polite to them, they try to frame it like you believe what you believe. You support what they support. And these men, that all they do is react. They've never brought on guests. They've never done a live in studio. Not well anyway, to the point that anyone knows who they are. They they want to tell us how to do it. And honestly, and it's very hypocritical because Abba and Preach have laughed at grape jokes, male grape jokes. And, you know, I could pull a clip from there and do the YouTube blood sport and paint them out a certain way.
But this guy wasn't joking. He literally drugged and raped women. He would talk about, and they would gang rape them. Like, this is not paraphrasing. That guy was talking about how he used to put cocaine and drug white women specifically. And then they would run trains on them and rape them violently. I don't know why. This isn't like a joke. This is a thing that he did. So, you have to understand the context, Pearl. What's the context here? This is crazy.
To me personally, when I see a girl with like a nice booty, I'm always like, I like you and I want you, and I'm gonna have you.
Now I tell you what.
Okay.
I like you and I want you. Now we can do this the easy way or we can do it the hard way. The choice is yours.
Well, I don't think you and I will be doing anything any kind of way.
Okay, I see you choosing the hard way.
Okay, cut. This isn't working. Someone get this guy out.
Okay.
No, that's bro. Hey, that's disturbing.
Leaf Johnson, booty warrior.
I don't want to do that, but
that's not even comparable. I don't know the specific. It looks like they're making a joke about a girl with a nice butt. And like, I'm gonna have like whatever. I don't think anybody seriously thinks that he's going to rape them. Whereas the other guy who did rape girls and admitted it and would drug them and run trains on them non-consensually. So wow.
You know, I understand
The
there's
Boondocks
always going to
joke
be
equals
entertainment
actual
value. I
rape,
understand
guys.
that, but it's just getting to a point where we're starting to defame people's characters.
You're an idiot.
And I'm just tired of the lying. I'm so tired of the lying. And the other thing that's insulting is a lot of these reactors that are pretending to stand up for my employees are calling them slaves.
The colonial mindset of Pearl has people working on her quote-unquote plantation.
That's why Pearl is a modern-day female slave master.
As if I am a slave master? Are you crazy? Oh my God, are you nuts? How insulting. It's like they're standing up for my employees by calling them slaves. What the?
This might be the
guys
only
are
decent point
insane.
that Pearl's making.
And again, all of these reactors have never successfully had a YouTube show. And they want to tell us how to do their show. And it's like, if I don't like the way a show is run, I just don't watch it. But all of these reactors want to insert their opinions and tell them how we should have our conversations and in what way we should have our conversations. When it's like, you guys haven't done it successfully. Most of you are small, and none of you have had a live show. That's like me telling you how to clip people out of context. I don't know how to do that. A lot of these YouTube
literally
channels,
have been doing it the
they
entire
do it to
time.
anyone that's bigger than them. They're just looking for someone big that they can tear down. Like, look at this business guy. He did this shit to Kevin Samuels, the godfather of the manosphere.
The problem. You see, the problem with Kevin the Perfume Don. Let me put y'all up on some manhood for a moment here and some real facts.
No,
By the way, he's still repeating this garbage.
I'm gonna lose now.
The average male weight has not increased since 1965. I corrected him about that last year. He's still running around lying and talking about men have only gained 5 pounds since 1969 and women have gained 30. Nonsense. They both gained about the same amount of weight, according to the CDC website. And he's still lying because he has a narrative that he wants to look down on women about. So he just lies about things. And none of y'all who claim you were learning anything, none of you have ever called him up to correct him and say, hey, dude, I can't ride with you telling outright lies to make your point. You can make a point, but if you got to lie to make a point, it's not something worth giving.
And
I mean, it sounds like that guy was speaking facts. What's wrong with what he was saying?
he said that Kevin Samuels was lying in order to tear down black women. Do you know how disrespectful that is? And in this clip, MTR.
Wait, you're not going to reference what he's saying, that guy was saying at all? This has to be the dumbest fucking thing you've ever done in your life. So you're saying, I don't even know how to respond to this. Apparently Kevin Samuels used to make this point that men have gained 5 pounds over the past 50 years on average, and women have gained 30, like overall, like I guess women over whatever. And that guy was like, that's not true. He just uses that to break down women, specifically black women, I guess, because he's in a black manosphere. And you're like, that's so disrespectful. What's disrespectful about that? If the guy's right, what is wrong with? I don't understand what you're saying. It doesn't make sense. If he's correct, then how? Like, it sounds like the guy probably is correct. Then running a train isn't inherently rape, but it's just references taking turns in sex. So first of all, most of the time running a train is rape. Second of all, holy fuck. I just want to let you know, he drugged white women and then raped them without their consent and explicitly said that. I know that you want to like be like a bit of a contrarian here and be like, well, technically running a train, most of the time running a train on a girl is non-consensual. And in this instance that I was very explicit about it, they would drug white women and rape them. Like, I don't understand why you're playing like contrarian just for the sake of like to feel like a smart guy today. Like, I don't really understand. Like, I don't really get it. Like, it's just a weird point that you're going to bring up. As like, I understand that there are limited instances where a train isn't necessarily rape. This instance was explicitly was. I don't know what the point of what you're talking about. You're talking about somebody in chat? Okay, fine. Sorry. Why? Why are you? She does hate fat women. I'm not understanding why. I'm misunderstanding the point. Okay, fair enough. I'll move on from it. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I made a mistake, guys. I looked over at the chat. Apparently, they were having a different conversation. He was just explaining what a train was. He wasn't criticizing me. I went off on the handle a little bit. I made a mistake. I'm very sorry. All right. I should have been more regulated. My bad. I appreciate you responding to the person in the chat. Okay. So there you go. Anyway, yeah, Pearl does hate fat women. But yeah, if the guy's right, then like, what does it matter? What does that matter? It sounds like the guy was right, and that Kevin Samuels is being like just trying to berate fucking women. So
In this clip, how hypocritical is it of you to say that people should not have formed an opinion on Kevin Samuels without watching his full content, but yet you can make a reaction on me without watching the full video?
What's happening in the world today? I think that with the advent, may he, rest in peace and whatever you feel about him, Kevin Samuels, who he made a whole living off of going hard on us. He made a living.
Did you tune in? Did you listen?
I never, because I wouldn't let that get in my spirit.
Of course.
But my point is, a lot of men that I know and respect were following him and listening to him.
I thought that she was a journalist. So as a journalist, she formed her opinion about somebody that she didn't even watch his content? I mean, she just said it. Men that she respect followed him. So instead of trying to understand why you set up a false narrative of him and rebuke him from your life, you simply and utterly cannot make this shit up. Modern women today are conditioned not to care what men think, but are conditioned to only hearing how awesome they are. And that's exactly why
this modern women thing is wild to me. Okay, a little bit of a cope. Yeah, I haven't listened to too much Kevin Samuels either. I saw him on TikTok where he would basically, it seems like he would just parade a bunch of women, and I was like, okay, this doesn't really seem like it's for me. So yeah, okay.
Most cannot keep us.
But I guess I don't have too much of an opinion on him because I didn't really watch anything specifically.
Other issue with Ocean.
But based on this, apparently he misrepresents, I don't know, obesity statistics intentionally to try to make it seem like women have gotten fatter, to try to say that modern women are bad in some capacity, or berate black women like that other guy was claiming. He probably isn't that great based on that. So
J. Duke Jackson.
And then after he was confronted with that information and he was proved wrong, he still continued to double down on it. Yeah, it doesn't sound like somebody who is well-intentioned there.
Trust the employees to know if they work for someone. or sexist or that hates black women. His words. And yet he thinks that he knows when he doesn't even live in this country. He's never even interacted with us. O'Shea, you've known King Richie's for a couple years now. Why didn't you sign him? You care so much about the black community, and you're the first to critique me, but I did what you didn't want to do. Why didn't you sign him? Now he's having more success than he's ever had, and he's incredibly talented, and he's worked so incredibly hard for that. But you're the first one to criticize me and call me names when I did what you could have done. And I did what you could have done immediately. I've only been, YouTube famous for maybe 6 months. And then I started helping other people. I started signing talent. And I know you've got your network. I know you've got your very mid set. But if you care so much, why didn't you do it? And MTR, what you did to me in the thumbnail was actually wrong. That was so wrong. Stay tuned for posting all the content that MTR do not want us to post because we do not care. And you guys agreed to it, and you can't take back your consent. And also, MTR,
I'm not understanding. Like that sentence doesn't make sense. That entire sentence doesn't make any sense. You just said that we have a bunch of content we made with somebody, and then they didn't agree to let us put it up. But now we're going to put it up, and you have to let us put it up because you agreed to have it put up. It sounds like you just admitted that they agreed not to, they didn't want it up, and you're just going to put it up out of spite. This doesn't... What? You're an idiot. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, you probably could actually strike you for that, because it sounds like one of the pre-agreements was that you can't post everything for some reason, but okay.
Respect the videos, all videos with me in it down within 48 hours because you do not want to associate with my brand.
Can't
and I respect
tell them to do that.
It's funny because what they're doing to me is exactly what I was talking about in the clip.
What's that?
They're using an atrocity to try to guilt me and try to control me, tell me who I should have on my platform, tell me the way I should run my show, tell me that I am not good to my employees, and that is what these undercover feminists do. I like having people that
undercover feminists. What the fuck? Wow, feminist is a slur now, huh? Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Oh
disagree.
My God.
I like having all different forms of opinion, and I will not apologize for having somebody controversial on my podcast.
Okay,
You know,
that's not the
I am
issue
more
that
than
you just
willing
didn't
in the
push
future.
back, so.
And I would also like to extend an invitation. If somebody thinks I'm misinformed, DM me.
are.
Let's get you on the show. Tell me
Never.
where I was wrong, and tell me who I should have on the podcast to correct myself. But it's one thing.
You got dumpstered. Like, there's no point in doing that. Just have Destiny on the show again or something. Like, you got completely railed constantly with everything that you said. Like, what's the point?
When you want to correct me or say something's inaccurate, but it's another thing when you go after my character. To everyone that thinks that I was wrong for bringing Nick Fuentes on.
What are you
To
doing
everyone
with
that thinks
music?
I shouldn't be able to have guests from the far right or the far left.
What
To everyone
the
that doesn't believe in
fuck?
freedom of speech and
Oh
bring
yeah, somebody asked me what game I'm playing. It's called Albion Online. Sorry. I'm just getting fucking... Jesus Christ! Give me a chance to play the game! Sorry. It's Albion Online. Anyway, what is with this music? That was what I was trying to say.
on canceled people. I'm one of the last remaining platforms that still brings on people that have been kicked off of all platforms, including YouTube. And every day, we fight so hard against cancel culture that we risk our entire platform by having people on. Now, it's crazy because we have CNN, BBC, Piers Morgan. They have the most controversial guests in the entire world on their show. But for some reason on YouTube, you get canceled for having controversial guests on your platform.
That's not what happened. But they even get criticism for that too, so.
And I'm young, and I still have a lot to learn. And we're not always going to get it right. But here at Just Pearly Things, we believe in freedom of speech. Here at Just Pearly Things, we believe in giving a platform to those who have none. And here at Just Pearly Things, we are going to continue to have controversial guests on again and again.
So brave.
And to those of you that don't like it, you can kiss my ass.
Damn. Well, they fucking did a reverb Vine sound effect at the end. Is that what you call? Wow. That was incredibly... Whoa. What was playing there? That was incredible. What an incredible video, Pearl. You are a very brave, strong, independent woman. I would basically call you a feminist, honestly.